Yo, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to episode 16 of the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast. And this week we will be talking about the king and queen of the ring as we head into the PLE on Saturday. I'm joined once again with my co-host, my best friend, Gonzo. How you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm tired. So if it looks like I got hit by a truck, I'm feeling it tonight.
It's cool. We all are. We're missing AOK Gaming this week because he decided to be on another beach. So we'll make fun of him next week when he returns once again. So real quick, guys, if this is your first time joining us, this is a WWE podcast for now, in which we talk the landscape of the WWE and the past week of pro wrestling in the entirety of WWE. That includes NXT. This is our new night. If you have been following us, we appreciate you. We'll be moving forward. Moving forward, we'll be broadcasting live every Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we get to make fun of AOK when he comes back and shoot the shit with each other and piss people off. So Gonzo, let's just get right into it. We got the king and queen of the ring. It's so hard to not just call it king of the ring, isn't it? But we got the king and queen PLE coming this Saturday. We're gonna do our prediction show or our predictions tonight at the end of the show. But leading up to it, pretty much every episode leading up to the PLE has been qualifier matches. Where we've actually seen the young guns of the WWE really show out. So we'll start from last SmackDown. We had the Queen of the Ring quarterfinals. Stratton lost to Belair, and this is something that I really wanted to talk about because if you remember last week, we kind of predicted this, but it could be for the wrong reasons. But Stratton's in some heat, and she's the hottest female in WWE in both of our opinions. What happened, man?
Social media happened. That's what happened. And unfortunately, whether they want to come out and 100% confirm this or not, this is one of those times where you can't undo something that you put out there into the cyberweb. And unfortunately, I think this is a direct connection with her posting something. And unfortunately, it now has buried her because I honestly did not see her losing, and I had seen her making it all the way to the finals. But unfortunately, as we talked last week, there's that video. Apparently, it leaks, and unfortunately, there's a lot of pissed off people. And is it a shocker that 2 seconds later she ends up losing? I don't think so.
I think in all our March Madness brackets, we had Tiffany Stratton going up there. So if we betted, we all would have been fucked. But let me ask you a question. So I understand, social media is the devil, and this very well could be a punishment for Stratton. But is it though? I mean, yes, she's the hottest female superstar right now. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But she was going against the number one overall pick in the draft.
So if we go with storyline, then yes, it's believable to me. It's not like she lost to some type of, jobber and this was a rare occurrence for it happening. The fact that it was Bianca Belair, I'm not as upset. But again, with us diving into what we dove into last week, it doesn't shock me that she lost. So yes, it makes sense in story. Bianca Belair is white hot. She's been dominating this division for quite some time, and I like Bianca Belair too. So this is one of those things where it necessarily did not hurt Stratton, just given the gravity of how amazing of a performer that Bianca Belair is. I will say though, it left a sour taste in my mouth because it left me saying, well, I don't want Belair versus Cardgell. That was one of the biggest things that I did not want to see. I wanted a build up. I just didn't want that to immediately just happen. They just won the tag titles, and all of a sudden that's how they presented it. And I think with how things definitely unfolded shortly after that, I know I text you and you quickly jumped down my throat, but you didn't let me finish. I said, on paper, yes, the fact that the Cargill and Nia Jax match ended in a disqualification match, but watching that unfold live, that was pretty rough. I'm not going to lie. It literally made Jade Cargill's IQ It literally made her like she has none. Like, this is a singles match where you're gonna get counted out and there is disqualification. So she like took the chair and then she like looked at it for a second, and it was as if it was like AOL dial-up where it was just waiting, 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 and then bam, then she bopped her, and then she was like shocked that she got disqualified because even the ref had like a pause of like shock and awe. So I don't know. I didn't like it. The way that they executed it was pretty poor.
So I mean, I think it was a horseshit finish too. I'm not arguing that whatsoever. But I mean, maybe her hesitation was okay. If I do this, I know I'm gonna get DQ'd. But this chick just went after and yelled at my daughter. So at this point, I just don't give a crap, and I'm about to just beat the hell out of her. I mean, essentially, that's the angle that they're playing. Now, do we agree with that angle? Probably not. But I mean, that is the angle, and for 100%, we have to agree that it was way too early for Cargill and Belair. I mean, it was just for bad booking, in my opinion. I mean, you put them in the same bracket. I mean, maybe neither of them should have been in it, but at the same time, those are your hot stars right now in SmackDown, and everyone needs to be on it. I don't know. Maybe Stratton should have went up against Cargill. Maybe the bracket should have been different. I mean, who knows? But I mean, the finish was definitely horseshit. You could have had Jax. I mean, beat her body or whatever. I mean, I don't even think I would have been mad about it. I mean, the way Nia Jax has been hot right now as well. And I don't know if you know, but there's something like it could be a dirt sheet thing. I mean, it could be a rumor, but rumor has it the reason Nia Jax has been so hot right now is because Paul Heyman has taken control of her direction.
I mean, I've been all about Nia Jax now for quite some time. I'm not going to get ridiculed on air tonight, so I actually am looking forward to somewhat talking about this.
Why? Because AOK is not here?
I like the fact that he's down in Florida right now, so that way I can have some peace of mind.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get to this comment real quick. Too early for Jade versus Nia as well. Both are powerhouses, and the build of that match, when we get an actual match, that'll be great. I agree. It's just Jade and Nia, they both have been hot, especially Nia. Nia's been, quiet because of all the young guns that have been coming up. But Nia has been, I'm in agreement with Gonzo here. I mean, she's been white hot too, and everyone's just not really talking about it. But the ending, once again, Andrew, horseshit. But
it wasn't properly executed. That's it.
They had to do something to avoid Belair versus.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I know that's ultimately what needed to happen. It's just it literally made Cargill look worse in that moment. Like she didn't know what was going on. So that's just me because she can literally decimate and go toe to toe with so many people.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for my baseball enthusiast, it's like having Adam Dunn at the plate. It's either going to be a home run or he's just going to literally strike out at everything. If you want something more modern, it's like Javi Baez going up there now and attempting to hit square every time, trying to hit a power home run. So just lack of plate discipline. So I used baseball references this time instead.
No, that works. All right. Well, that wraps up the women's quarterfinals. We'll have to see the outlook for Stratton going forward. I mean, if it really was a punishment, we'll see if she comes out white hot post King of the Ring tournament. We'll just have to wait and see what her booking is going to be. And, same thing with Cargill. We'll see what's going to happen with her. I mean, this is definitely not over between Nia Jax and Cargill. Maybe they play a role in her, semifinal match. Who knows? But we shall see. But moving on to the Raw side, we keep talking about the draft picks and the young guns that are coming up. So we had Valkyria upsetting Io Sky. I'm gonna let you take the reins because I know you're all about her right now too. So
Lyra Valkyria, absolutely. No, she looked fantastic, and so did Io Sky in that match. And for those that are not big fans of Io Sky, really watch this match because both those ladies put on a clinic. And so I was actually shocked that Valkyria went over because we've seen Dragunov lose. We've seen Tiffy Time lose, and I was expecting. Bro, Braun Breaker didn't even make it to the dance, right? So that dude ultimately didn't even get the chance.
We'll get there.
And so again, I'm not really thinking big things for Lyra. The fact that she made it all the way to where she got it, and the fact that she was going into her finisher, and then she ultimately got that quick pin. I forget what that roll up is called, but that spot in itself was great. everything about that match was fantastic.
I mean, I just want to put it out there that I had Valkyria versus Stratton in the finals. I just want to say, but
Hey,
since our March Madness bracket is already over, it is what it is. So I guess we'll get Belair. I mean, we'll see what happens between Belair and Jax. We'll make that prediction later on in the show. But I mean, Valkyria, amazing in NXT. Wasn't shocked that she got drafted, and she's decimating right now on the Raw side. I don't think she wins the whole thing. We'll get there with our predictions later, but she definitely has put on a great show where people that don't necessarily watch NXT are now seeing her firsthand and what she can do, and she's instantly a star. She's also getting endorsed by Becky Lynch, who is her fellow Irish person. So I could just foresee a future tag team between them, just because that's what WWE does. So, which not necessarily wouldn't be bad. I mean, I'm just saying, I just foresee that happening right now.
I wouldn't say a tag team. I would call it a mashup, right? I mean, because tag team, I will identify them as having their own name, their own entrance music.
Of course,
I agree.
So, but
this
is the women's division, so this is a tag team for them.
They're changing things. They're changing things because they're already having the North American Championship in the NXT division for the women. But still, somehow NXT finds its way into the main roster.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that NXT North American Championship is going to get to go to every brand. I guarantee it. You heard it here first. Watch.
We'll clip that later then.
Oh, I will. I guarantee you. Then they're going to be like, wait, what's the draft? Nothing.
What's the draft?
That's what it is. The draft is nothing. Anyway. So real quick, we have Belair versus Nia Jax that's set for SmackDown for the semifinals on the SmackDown side. So we already know that Valkyria is set for the semifinals from Raw, and she will face the winner of Jax and Belair at the PLE on Saturday. So who is she facing?
I mean, you got Lyra, right? That is punched her ticket already to the PLE. Well, why not? We're going to have Nia Jax go over because you need
this
the hero.
So biased.
You need, because hear me out, right?
Okay,
you can't have two faces square off right now.
Why not?
Tiffy Time's been eliminated, and there's history that was there between Lyra and Tiffy Time. Those two would have put on a clinic. Had they had the chance to go in the finals. However, you have Nia Jax. She doesn't necessarily, if she loses, it doesn't hurt her because look at the momentum that she has right now. So if you really want to put over a young star, this would be an opportunity to do so. But then the question also would be if you have Belair versus Lyra Valkyria, you're going to have easily a top-notch match because of the athleticism that the two women are going to be able to put on. That's the only drawback if you were to go Nia. Nia is very limited, obviously, with what she could do. And then that potentially can take away what Valkyria typically does anyway. It's almost like the Rhea Ripley scenario where you had Rhea versus Nia when they were in Australia. And so I know for a fact that Mommy had to slow down and do limited things in comparison just so that way she made Nia look good.
So the king and queen of the ring, it doesn't matter if heels and faces really go at it. It's not necessarily a feud, which is why you do have heels and faces. So I don't really agree on you can't have a heel versus face thing. And as much as we both are in agreement that Jax has been doing well and they've kind of won us over as fans, Belair's the number one overall pick. Belair's the one who can put on a 5-star match with Valkyria if you're going to put her over. I don't think she will, but I think in this instance, we're going to get Belair versus Valkyria. That's my prediction for the PLE. And we'll make the winner predictions later on in the show. Moving on to the King of the Ring quarterfinals from last week. So let me talk to you, David. Yeah, your boy, lost yet again to Tama Tonga. So
Chimichanga?
To your boy Chimichanga. So he advances as well as Randy Orton beating a first ever NXT first round pick, Carmelo Hayes. So Tama Tonga upsets LA Knight. So We all know that we're gonna get that rivalry between Tama Tonga and Randy Orton on this Friday night. We'll get to that prediction in a second. What I really want to ask you, since you're so up his ass, is LA Knight. What's next for this guy now? Keeps losing. I wore his shirt to support him, and he lost. He disappointed me last week. What's next for him?
You took away his victories, probably.
Yeah, I took away his victories. His
You took
victories for
away
the
his
past
victories.
2 years. This guy hasn't been able to get anything done, but I
That's-
took away his victories.
Do you listen to the crowd? That's all that matters, though. The crowd is still behind him.
The crowd was also behind your broski, and look at that guy.
Who? Woo, woo, woo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he got a championship out of it too, so
And lost it the very next day.
doesn't matter. Winning's
And-
winning. If
and
I
now
had to
he's-
quote
And now
Dom
he's Matt.
Toretto,
And now he's Matt Cardona on the indie scene.
hey, he gets paid. He's still making a living.
So answer the question: what's next for LA Knight?
What's next for LA Knight?
What's his outlook since he's now out of this tournament? Exactly. No one knows.
The fact that I have to think about that clearly is a problem. But as we know, he's going to start feuding with Mr. Hayes. They already have planted that seed. So
They planted that seed, but he also had a stare down with Logan Paul.
he's got options here. It's not like he doesn't, because he has history with Logan Paul because of just what's been going on here the last several months. The Carmelo Hayes versus LA Knight would actually be some good primetime TV. And they're in those promos that they had with the brief television time that they had. He actually left, I think, Carmelo Hayes a little starstruck with a couple of his lines. It just seemed like Melo didn't have a response to how quick LA Knight was able to put something out there. So that seems to be like good television. I mean, because it all really comes down to what happens with the PLE with Logan Paul and, you know, the eventual Grand Slam champion, but his title, unfortunately, is the only one that's on the line. So, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe in the Ultimate Universe, Cody wins it, but then when they come back, you know,
back
whatever.
to Earth 616. Yeah, I mean, so multiverse of madness. I mean, there's multiverses all over the place. So if that's a possibility, then that's a possibility. But for LA Knight, right now, he doesn't need a title, right? He's shown that. I think it's more about character development and what types of good crowd reactions that he can elevate potentially other people, like a Carmelo Hayes. Because if LA Knight is in a segment with Melo, that's only going to have the crowd be a little bit more interested if they are not familiar with who he is. Now, for those that have been watching NXT, obviously we know who Melo is, but for those that are a little bit more of a casual fans know who LA Knight is, right? They're behind him. They're doing they're doing all these things. And just that presence alone, I think, would be enough to help provide more spark potentially for Melo for the casual fan.
So you're telling me one of the most popular superstars in the WWE right now, one of the top merch sellers in the WWE right now, consistently loses. All right. You're going to tell me that this guy doesn't deserve a championship right now? And furthermore, you're going to sit there and tell me that now they're going to use this guy to put other people over when this guy's a bona fide star and is ready now? That's
what belt? Yeah, but what belt would you put on him?
Get him off. Get it off the part timer. I'll give him the U.S. title. Get it off the damn part timer.
Maybe he costs him that match over at the PLE. That could be a possibility.
Look, man, I understand your point, and I'm not disputing it in regards to that's not a good idea. I'm disputing it that it's fucking stupid, because this guy for the past year plus has been the most popular guy. All right. You can only go on so far saying this guy doesn't need a title. And I agree in some aspect, because for a long time, Seth Rollins didn't need a title. But Seth Rollins was also a champion prior to that hiatus of him 2 or 3 years. I believe he didn't have a championship. LA Knight has done nothing in the WWE.
I mean, the only title that I could argue that would make sense to me if you were to put it on him would be the United States title. You can't put the Intercontinental just because of the significance of what Gunther has done to it. And there really hasn't been a whole bunch of back and forth with Gunther and LA Knight, not to my knowledge, right? So then you have obviously the two.
Well, they're on opposite shows anyway, so I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anyway. We know that. So then you have, right, the hard working champion, and then you have the Universal champion. Obviously, we're immediately disqualifying the Universal Championship title, right, with Cody, because there's other stories to tell with it. And then you have Damian Priest and what he's going to do. I mean, he can't drop that just yet. So the U.S. title, to me, I would like to see that on LA Knight.
So let's pretend that the draft actually does matter, because usually in the first couple months it does, and as of right now, it does matter. So he's blocked in every aspect, with the exception of the United States Championship. And right now, LA Knight has no direction, much like your boy Braun Breaker.
Oh, we're gonna get to him though.
We will get to him, and I'm going to let you take the reins. I know you loved it this week, and I actually did too. I was surprised. We'll get there. But right now, LA Knight has no direction. They are banking on crowd appeal, which is fine. Obviously, you need to have those guys, but LA Knight is too big and huge of a star to not capitalize on anything. Give this guy a solid feud then, if you're not going to give him a championship, like Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes when he came back. They fought 3 times, no championship needed, right? Give this guy a solid feud, because these one-offs, he's going to have a one-off with Carmelo Hayes. I don't know. I mean, is he going to have a trilogy with Carmelo Hayes? That'd be great if he does, but ultimately Carmelo Hayes has to go over, right? Because you invested a first-round pick in this guy. Let's pretend it matters. I know it doesn't matter, Gonzo, but you invested so much on this guy. His first match on the main roster was against Cody Rhodes. I mean, you put him in a feud. That's a feud that ultimately he has to win. I mean, theoretically, right? So
at some point, yeah.
So it's like LA Knight keeps losing, and I keep bringing this up not to shit on you, because I know it's your boy. I bring it up because I like LA Knight. I think the guy needs something. I think a feud with Logan Paul would be golden, and letting LA Knight bring it back and let him be the United States Championship. You got to give him something at this point. That's just me. But moving on, unless you have anything else you want to add about your boy.
No, I think we can leave him at rest right now.
All right, so we're renewing a feud on the other side of things. Tama Tonga and Randy Orton. Randy Orton finally is going to get his hands on Tonga. So who wins that match?
Because then if Randy were to win on the Raw side, it would be Gunther, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's tough. I mean, to me, it's going to be Gunther versus Randy Orton.
100%.
I think so.
100%.
But then again, because what keeps coming back to me is to where Randy possibly could lose, and it would be, of course, the bloodline interfering drastically. It's not going to be a clean win if Chimichanga goes over. And so, as far as that, and the reason I say that is because Solo Sikoa had said losing has consequences, right? And that's what started this whole new regime of bashing people with chairs and sounding like gremlins and not, forming sentences. And so you have these rabid animals that are just doing whatever it is that they're doing.
Dude, what was that? I'm glad you brought that up. He was like what the fuck was the...
Drew McIntyre already commented on it. So he already made the Gremlins reference for those who weren't, paying attention.
God.
But honestly, you know what? I like his music as far as Tama Tonga goes, because Solo and the gang, they come out to Chimichanga's music. I don't know if you noticed that pretty consistently. It's actually, I think, closer than what people will give it credit to. And so I could easily see how it could either be Randy or it could be the Bloodline, because right now the Bloodline is undefeated. They haven't lost ever since they've been taking their L's, and Solo has said no more L's, right? Because they have consequences. Like, literally, these people are terrified for their lives because they already seen what happened. Is it Jimmy that got bashed in the head, right? Yeah, Jimmy Uso. And we haven't seen him ever since. So Gunther versus either or, I would be happy to be truthful with you. But overall, Gunther wins the whole thing.
All right, we'll get to that later, dude.
Spoilers.
Calm the fuck down. You say it's a lot closer than it is. It really isn't, because we are going to the Ultimate Universe and you need star power. And as much as I love Tama Tonga, his actual name, he's not star power in the Ultimate Universe. So you're getting Gunther and Randy Orton 100%.
I was just trying to say, in a more balanced, well-rounded.
If we were in a regular PLE that is on the state side and we're not doing these BS, alternate universes.
Uh-oh. I think you're getting canceled. I think I may have lost my host, and that's okay. Hopefully he rejoins us here shortly, but I'll carry on with the show. As far as the men's PLE that's going to be coming up for King of the Ring, it's definitely going to be interesting. And I can understand where Mark is talking about how going over with the PLE, you're going to have star power because, again, big stars, people are not going to be able to see them because it's going to be overseas. And that in itself is going to be a huge draw for people that don't get to see these stars every single day like we do in the States. So, with that being said, yes, I think Randy Orton versus Gunther is going to be a huge draw. And with that, that in itself is going to be a wonderful match for the people over in Saudi Arabia to be able to just sink their teeth into. And Mark, I know we had just lost you here. I was just, again, highlighting the points that you were making, just really.
I could hear you. We're all good.
All right, perfect.
I don't know what happened.
You
But
got
yeah, I
canceled.
mean,
That's what happened. You got canceled.
clearly. But I mean, like I said, back to if we were in a regular universe, then I would 100% agree with Gonzo. But since we're not, there's no chance in hell Randy Orton's losing this match because he has to go for star power. That's what it is. You got to get Gunther versus Randy Orton. Now, how Randy gets there, I'm sure the bloodline comes in there. Maybe Kevin Owens comes and helps Randy Orton as well. But it just has to happen. What do we got here? Randy going to give him a welcoming to the pros. I bet Randy stiffs him on purpose. Maybe. But that's just what it is. Speaking of Gunther, so we had Gunther versus Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw. Obviously, we're saying that Gunther won. But what is next for Jey Uso now? He's taken consecutive losses in big time matches. He lost he lost his chance at the World Heavyweight Championship against Damian Priest. Now he loses in the King of the Ring tournament. What is next for him? What's his outlook?
Actually, I'm more intrigued to hear what you have to say on that.
Unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, I kind of had him winning the Intercontinental Championship when Gunther had it, and that didn't pan out. Like you said earlier, his brother is MIA. Maybe something of that regard might happen, but that might be too soon of kind of like but them reuniting. He is main event Jey Uso, who has his own brand, another guy that's very popular, much like your boy LA Knight with the crowd, so I don't know. I mean, he has to get into some type of legitimate feud or title scene. So maybe Intercontinental Championship with Sami Zayn. I mean, at this point, I'm at a loss where Jay goes from here. What do you think?
Even if they take their foot off the gas, like with him or LA Knight, I'm actually not going to be too concerned about it just because, again, both these guys have enough behind them to where you can insert them properly and they're going to gain momentum. If you have just Jay kind of go off TV maybe for a week or two, is it really going to be that detrimental to his character? I don't think so. I don't think so. Same with LA Knight. I mean, because with, again, just where he's at, how he's earned his spot so far, if you give them a week or two off where you don't necessarily see them, I don't think it's going to be the end all be all for both those guys.
Yeah, agreed. Moving on to the last part of the actual tournament is David's favorite part, Braun Breaker.
Yes.
Who was excluded from the tournament. And last week, we were talking about why the hell this guy wasn't in it. And I'm glad that he's addressing it himself on TV. Up until this point, it's been squash match for squash match. Oh, wait a minute. There's another squash match this week. I don't know if you missed it. It was very quick. He gets drafted to Raw, does the same shit. And he just reminds me of Ryback booking. I mean, Ryback was getting booked squash matches for months, much like Wardlow on AEW. Squash matches for months. But this week, it seems like he might have turned a corner. So why don't you take me through that?
Might have? What are you talking about? He went full-blown heel. He killed a person on live television.
Still a squash. No one of relevance.
That wasn't a squash.
No one of relevance. What's his name? What's the name of the guy that got his ass kicked?
Kale. It's Kale. I know his name. Why? Because I actually felt for the man. That dude was twitching as he was laying there getting speared and then getting bashed in the head with a chair. So yeah, I remember this man's name because this is going to be the launching pad for Braun Breaker because consequences. You kept him out of the title scene or the chance to actually fight for a title, and this is what he's now going to do to your roster. He then took out Ricochet in addition to that. So now he's just going to go on a rampage, just taking people out left and right since You already have him squashing bums. He's going to start squashing anything that walks in front of him now. I like this all of a sudden. It gives me purpose. And you want to know the interesting thing? The crowd was actually cheering for him killing Kale and then killing Ricochet. So
if he goes and kills Ricochet in 3 minutes for that speed championship, I'm done with him.
well, I mean, he broke his ribs already because
I'm done with him.
he did a sneak attack. So, dirty tactics at its best.
I'm just saying, leave it to WWE to freaking put him and Ricochet on freaking Twitter for 3 minutes, and then all of a sudden, Braun's the speed champion. I swear to God. I swear to God. I'll be so pissed.
We're not in no. We're not in the Ultimate Universe with this, so stop now.
I'm just saying.
I enjoyed it. This would be a wonderful take because I would love to hear what AOK Gaming would have to say on this because he and my wife, because my wife is watching.
He's on a beach right now, so
he's probably got a wonderful drink in his hand, half alive, just because it's probably his 8th drink deep. But again, with my wife, she watches, Braun Breaker, and she's like, "Oh, look at this, another no-name person. What are they going to do? Another squash match?" And then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, Kale's getting killed left and right, then gets bashed in the head with the chair, and she's like, "Okay, this is actually pretty good." So if she got won over by these antics, I wonder if Angel would. On top of that, I would say he's going to.
So what happens next week?
He's going to keep going on a rampage where he's
against another squash match.
It's not matches anymore. He's just assaulting people.
Okay, we'll see. We shall see. Do you have anything else you want to add on with your boy Braun?
Does he have your attention now?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
But I'm glad he's heel because I like heel Braun better than face Braun in NXT. So it's getting me there. Like on a 5 level, 5 being the best and 1 being the shitty. We're at a 2.5 right now.
Hey, right? that's better than nothing. So I'll take that.
So we'll see what happens next week. But if this guy gets booked against another freaking local talent and does the same thing, then I'm like, come on.
I think he's done with doing local talents. So him, talking to himself and like losing his mind. But I will say this: I have a problem.
He should have been in the tournament. That was bad booking.
He's showing you why. Now you're going to regret the decision of not putting me there. But that's going to be some wonderful storytelling moving forward.
Can I get a quick hot take in?
If you want. No rants.
It's not a rant. It's a quick hot take. So the reason he wasn't in the King of the Ring tournament is because they're going to give the winner the bullshit freaking king or queen gimmick, and they didn't want to give that to Braun. Just saying. When they're calling you King Gunther, don't come crying to me. Just saying. All right, moving on. We have a return of a game this week. All right, we've kind of been a hiatus with the games, but we're not bringing back Pushberry Fire until next week when AOK returns. We're gonna play a new game. It's called History Decision. We might change the name because that's all I could come up with this week. I've been very busy.
History.
But that's what we're doing. So what this game is pretty much almost the same thing as Pushberry Fire. We're gonna give each other 3 people, wrestlers, and we could only keep 1, and we have to erase 2 from history. Meaning, if I give him 3 choices, no matter who he chooses to keep, those other 2, you erase all their matches, all their accolades, they never existed, all their feuds, everything. So, with that being said, Gonzo, are you ready for the first?
How many rounds are we doing? I know.
We'll do 2. We'll do 2. 2 quick ones.
Okay, that's fine then.
So, are you ready for your first ever history decision?
Yeah, let's do it. So I have to pick 1 to keep, and the other 2 just get erased forever.
They get erased from history. All their feuds, titles, everything. 2 of them get erased from history.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So we're gonna keep with the King of the Ring kind of motif here, and I'm gonna put I think my personal favorites, the 3 greatest King of the Ring winners. This has nothing to do with King of the Ring. I just wanted to choose the 3 winners, and that's what we're going to do. Remember, so we're still erasing their entire career of history. So we're going to go Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brock Lesnar, and Bret Hart. You have to keep 1 and erase 2 from history.
Oh, God. Wow. That's terrible because if you erase Bret, there's the possibility you never get Austin anyway. So
And there's no Montreal screw job.
yeah,
Like,
there's no Montreal, nothing, right? I mean,
yep.
like Bret
If
Hart.
you erase Lesnar, would Paul Heyman be the manager that he is?
So I will have to keep Bret Hart because there is so much history that has come from what Bret has done to where we get pretty much everything that we have now, or at least a catalyst for it, right? Montreal screw job and putting people over and then going different directions with how we're going to pay people. Bret leaves the company. And so you're forced to actually have to find and develop new talent. Where if you were to keep Brock Lesnar and eliminate Bret Hart and Austin, I mean, what does that even look like? Are we even calling it WWE at that point? I mean, is it WCW that Brock Lesnar goes to, or is it another new company? I mean, the, there's just so much here. I think the easy answer that I'll take is Bret Hart. You got to keep Bret Hart because without Bret Hart, we don't get to like current stuff.
I'm shocked. I thought you were going to Stone Cold. I really thought you were.
I like Stone Cold. Don't get me wrong, but
Okay.
without Bret Hart though, there's just so much there. I don't know what the comments are thinking on that one. Maybe they're gonna replace me here pretty soon again. I know Derek, the guy's been coming at me for at least 5 months now. So
Yeah, I know. All right. So that was your first ever history decision.
yeah. All right. Here's one for you. I'm just gonna go right to the throat. We're gonna go for Jack Swagger, Jinder Mahal, or Ryback. You have fun.
I'm keeping Jack Swagger because we the People gimmick was not bad at all. I'm just saying.
You're not feeling the Jinder?
Jinder Mahal has always been and will forever be trash. However, I did enjoy his title run. I really did. As the Maharaja, I really did. But I like Jack Swagger better. And who cares about Ryback? We get Ryback every week with every big man that is booked on every wrestling film. So it's the same person. So that's what I'm doing. All right. The second round, final round, we're gonna switch it up already. You can tell I was prepared for this. You're gonna keep one and erase two from history. The Intercontinental title, the United States title, the Cruiserweight title. If you erase two from history, you lose all those iconic matches. Hold on one second. While you ponder that, we're gonna get to this comment. With the current allegations, it's almost like Brock never existed. Agree with Gonzo on keeping the Hitman. He's too important to WWE's overall history. He made Austin into a megastar. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 13.
There we go. I have one person that would agree with my take. I like that. All right.
So back to your decision here. So the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship, and the Cruiserweight Championship. You have to keep one and eliminate the other two from history. That includes every match that has ever taken place with that title, and whoever has held it.
Is there like a time frame as to like how far back this goes?
Nope.
No, just no. Always no.
Nope.
Oh man.
That's why it's called history decision. We need a new name, guys. Someone just drop it out there. This is all I can come up with. But yeah.
So we're gonna eliminate the Intercontinental title and we're gonna eliminate the US title. We're gonna go with the Cruiserweight title.
Bro, what?
We are gonna push.
Explain immediately.
We are gonna push the Lucha Libre style and bring that into the forefront. Because in the 90s, I know that was going to be a huge, significant push where American wrestling, I know at the time, had discredited the lucha style for a very long time. And so I know promoters were starting to get a little bit more intrigued with bringing over a new product for the American crowd to actually sink their teeth into. You have Chris Jericho potentially that's in that whole dynamic of things. You have Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, S.A. Rios. I mean, all of these high flyers potentially that actually pave the way for little men technically to get a shot potentially at bigger titles. And so the cruiserweight possibly could be turned into something else, right? I know WCW had something called the television title. I mean, technically, that in itself is like the European title. So, like, the undercard has always had like these, random belts. And so, if you eliminate the other two, potentially, does that mean that you open up opportunity for a fusion of those bigger names and bigger people to then have to wrestle with luchadors? Possibly, right? I mean, in order to get some eyes and to get some talent there, that I think that would be a really creative way possibly to do that. Now, my wrestling history is going to be extremely limited just because I was only born in 1990. So unfortunately, the elders, if you're listening, I'm sure I just put you 6 feet into your graves right
He
now.
sure did, because there's only one answer, buddy. You keep the Intercontinental Championship based off one match and one match alone, and that is Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels in the first ever ladder match, which is the greatest Intercontinental Championship match of all time. And you just shitted on that history. And I'll even take one further for you, because you freaking love the leg dropping 80s superstar. Freaking Hogan versus Warrior at WrestleMania 6, freaking the clones facing each other, was an absolute banger of a match. I'm just saying, just with those
Wow.
two alone.
I'm actually shocked that you're supporting that match.
I am supporting that match because that was a good ass freaking match. I'm just saying, man, the elders are coming for you and they're coming for you hard. I cannot believe. And I'm a cruiserweight guy. I love the cruiserweights. I'm all for the cruiserweights. But
That's a hot
damn,
take. That's a hot take coming from me. So
that was whoa, that was raw. You did not pick the guys I truly thought you were gonna pick tonight, which I kind of like that. But at the same time, it's just like,
hey, so for my final one, then for you,
all right.
we're gonna again come up with a different name other than history or erase from history, right?
History decision.
The decision of the fates. That could be another interesting name for this.
The
So
worst for me. We'll do that.
we'll go. Just because I was unprepared for tonight, we're gonna pick The Rock, the final boss, Maui. We're gonna pick CM Punk, and then
Ooh.
we're gonna pick Chris Jericho.
Oh.
You knew that was coming, so
Ooh. Damn. It's a lot tougher than you think, because Chris Jericho's my boy, but the whole point is erasing people from history, and you put The Rock in there. So if I eliminate The Rock, if I go with the obvious choice everyone thinks I'm going to pick is Chris Jericho then doesn't beat The Rock and Stone Cold in one night for the Undisputed Championship, because The Rock has been erased from history. So, and then you got CM Punk, Chicago legend, arguably, my second favorite of all time.
I mean, CM Punk is a phenomenon at this point. The dude doesn't even wrestle, and he still generates energy waves like he does.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know growing up, The Rock was one of my guys, but I could just care less for him. So it's really between Chris Jericho and CM Punk, and I lived with CM Punk without CM Punk for 10 years. So you did make it a close race, but we're still keeping Chris Jericho.
How did I know? How did I know? I purposely picked those other two because I know your loyalty to those other individuals, and yet the rock and roll Ayatollah still comes out on top.
Chris Jericho's the greatest of all time. I don't give a fuck. Fight me.
Into the vortex we go.
Macho Man as Intercontinental Championship. Oh yeah, WrestleMania 3. Gunther's recent reign shows the IC title is the next best title, 100%. Also viewed as a stepping stone into the main event, 100%. Basically, he says you're an idiot, Gonzo. That's what he said. Just saying. That's exactly what he said.
Words hurt.
I love you.
Words hurt.
I love you. All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed history decision. I don't know. Someone come up with a good name. If it's a good name, we'll credit you with it. Let us know. Text us, DM us, comment on one of our clips. But that was a pretty good game. Gonzo, how'd you like that game?
I was not prepared, so you caught me with my pants down, unfortunately.
You should have been prepared. I sent you this an hour ago.
I was watching NXT.
So it is what it is. Speaking of NXT, Gallus, one of the most feared factions in NXT UK, have returned. Basically attacked everyone that is involved. Well, I'm sorry, not everyone, but attacked the contenders in the triple threat match for Obafemi's championship. And now Gonzo's boy Ivar is out indefinitely, and Joe Coffey was inserted to that number one contenders match that took place, which Gallus also got involved, which saw a double pin, and Coffey and Wesley will now face Obafemi in a triple threat match at NXT Battleground in Vegas. Thoughts?
I'm glad Briggs lost. That was amazing.
Yeah,
I could care less. I could care less about that guy. I do. I could care less about that guy. So the fact that he got double pinned makes it even better. So pretty shocked that it was a double pin. And I don't know anything about Coffee Black in the tropics. So as
Jesus
far as
Christ.
they go,
say his damn name. Like,
he's so new to me. What do you want
Joe
from me?
Coffey. His name's Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang. They make up Gallus.
All right, we'll get there. We're getting there. I don't know too much about them. So for me, as not being 100% too aware of what they are and what they're capable of, I'm pretty intrigued now, right? Because you're got to be pretty significant to make that much noise to cause so much destruction. And it's only literally been, what, like 20 minutes of TV time at this point, if that. And that's maybe pushing it. Maybe it's 15. I mean, they've made a very big impact for people who don't know too much about them, which leaves me wanting to know more. Now, as far as going into this PLE, where it's another triple threat against M'Baku himself, I mean, this is going to be pretty interesting. So,
Jesus Christ. Can you say their names? Say their names.
My apologies.
Who's he going to go against? Who's going to go against?
You're going to have to fill me in so I don't get triggered.
What's his name? Who's he going to go against?
I mean, I keep calling him M'Baku, but his real name is what?
You tell me.
It's Obafemi. So
thank you. Jesus Christ. Gallus really made an impact this week. Multiple attacks backstage. We've already been revealed as they took out Ivar backstage. Do we think they also attacked Noam Dar? I mean, all roads lead to them attacking Noam Dar. I mean, Gallus, once again, they interrupt Chick Williams' promo. And even though Joe Coffey's inserted himself into that North American Championship match, he's also making himself aware to Chick Williams that he wants that title too, which Noam Dar was supposed to be kind of Chick Williams' first offense. We don't know, but Noam Dar got attacked, and we still don't know who attacked him, but I think we do know who attacked him. So, I mean, Gallus is coming back strong. This is what they did prior to their hiatus until, the family took them out. No big deal. Little history lesson for you there. But I mean, who knows? Now they're back with a vengeance. You're gonna like them. I know you don't know too much about them, but this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna force their hand in everything they do. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on to the Judgment Day.
There you go.
Moving on to the Judgment Day. Kind of in limbo, and a lot of different things going on with them right now. Carlito inserting himself into. He's leaving the cartel wars, or whatever the hell you want to call it, the freaking Latino wars and all that stuff.
See how I support you? You make up names and there's no laughing. So
the Latino Angel made up the Latino wars. That wasn't me. Kind of like trying to insert himself into the Judgment Day. Damian says that he needs to, earn his keep. Prior to the tag team title match, you had Finn kind of doing more little seed planning that he wishes that Damian was tagging with him there. I thought we should have made note of that. And then the tag team title match, Carlito tries to get involved, but Andre the Giant, aka Braun Strowman,
that was great, honestly.
interferes and helps Austin Truth retain. And we get backstage, and Damian says that they need to get back on track and walks away. So how do they get back on track?
Finn Balor agreed with them.
How do they get back on track?
They get rid of McDonuts, and then that'll be great. That dude is worse than Solo Sikoa with racking up bells.
What about Solo's a new tribal chief? So whatever, acknowledge him. So, what about Liv Morgan?
Oh, her character is actually starting to win me over now.
Do you think this is something that like Rhea Ripley's just gonna get like axed out to save the Judgment Day? Like, is she gonna be like newly inserted, or do you think like they're just all gonna break up and Damian Priest goes on their own? Because their outlook right now, it's intriguing to me. I'm not bored of Judgment Day whatsoever, but I just don't know where it's going because we all know what we want to happen. We want to see that Finn and Damian, but that match is way too early in his title reign to happen. That's gonna be one of his final big feuds, in my opinion. But then you got Dom, who's hurt. You got JD McDonough teaming with his real life cousin Finn Balor. You got Carlito being inserted, so we're kind of gonna get maybe an LWO versus Judgment Day type deal. But then you got all these little secret meetings that you see backstage, and with Liv Morgan. Like, what is that whole dynamic? Like, what are we seeing here?
I mean, there's so much that's being teased is because we know that the Revenge Tour is loud and proud right now with her going around and completely slapping and jumping people left and right. Latino Wars has spilled over into the Judgment Day. There's Damian Priest doesn't trust Carlito as to what he's doing, and ultimately, whatever Carlito still does, it's still not good enough. McDonuts continues to lose, and he drags everything down and puts them in terrible predicaments. Apparently, McDonuts has to go against Andre the Giant, next week, and he has to demand that match. And
Freaking
so,
squash match. Like, come on, man.
but I think what makes it comical is the fact that McDonuts literally thinks that he's going to actually win and beat the monster of men. So it's actually intriguing television, to be truthful with you. But Mommy, right, is the golden goose. She goes away, and look how all of these individuals are just in disarray. So it just further shows that how strong of a leader she was, and you're really seeing how selfish Damian Priest is right now, because everything is about him. It's what he wants to do. It's what his title reign is going to be. It's how he wants to present himself. It's all him, me. And that's going to run that's going to run its course, unfortunately, with whoever that's in that faction, because everything is more of a power trip right now, I think, for Mr. Priest.
Agreed. You still didn't answer my question about Liv, though. So
Livy?
is she gonna be Judgment Day?
Is she going to be Judgment Day? I think she's going to be one of the major factors as to what's going to cause them to possibly break. I won't say split, I'll say break, because even with the break, it can still be intact. Now, I think you're going to see something more viable maybe in the next month. I don't think you're going to see it right now. And that's going to probably be teasing or hinting at the return of Mommy as it gets a little bit closer, possibly.
Okay. Alrighty then. All right. We're gonna get into some hot tags, and then we'll get into the King and Queen of the Ring prediction. All right. So we're gonna start with your NXT girl here. Fallon Henley and Jada Parker both advanced to Battleground for the Women's North American Championship ladder match. Thea Hale and Brinley Reese are out. Was that the right move?
Fallon Henley to the moon.
A lot of people like Thea Hale.
I like Fallon Henley to the moon.
All right, then.
So to me, I want Fallon Henley. Anything that has with Fallon Henley in it, I'm all for it. I think it has more to do with Thea Hale's great, but I can only take so much of the screaming and the psycho screaming so much. I mean, you all right? I don't know what I said this time now.
The psycho screaming, dude. Like, I don't know, bro.
Dude, how many times does she scream in every single match with what she does? She like snapped her arm at the end of the match, and she literally, that's the face that she gave as she was hulking up. And then 2 seconds later, her arm was fine as she got back in the ring. So now mind you, I think screaming and hulking up, it literally regenerated her arm to where it didn't hurt her anymore. So I'm all for it, but I can only take so much of that.
All right. Next, what do we got?
So as far as a hot tag, then we got Trick Williams failing as an NXT champion. True or false? What is your take on that?
True. Who has he defended his title against?
Ash Legend.
Exactly nobody. It's been a month. Not one match.
Well, there's a reason why he's still on the NXT brand, and I think we're seeing it now.
I don't know. Uncle Howdy teases. Are they getting too much?
I stopped paying attention to him only because I'm intrigued. And the more, if I were to keep looking up the QR codes, I know he's coming. I know they are coming. So I don't care when. I just know that they're coming. And so what I'm doing is I know that they're coming. And just like any Marvel theatrical trailer, well, people don't know what that is. So you're going to have to calm down with that. God of the symbiotes, that is actually means nothing now. So as far as Uncle Howdy goes, no, I stopped looking into it probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And so it's a matter of the PLE. But then again, does that crowd really know who or what they're going to be? Maybe it's at Clash at the Castle, possibly. I just know it's going to be at a PLE is what I'll say, because you're only going to have a limited opportunity with limited crowd reaction. And if you can do it in such a place where they don't get wrestling all too much or they don't get shows all too much to have a big reveal, I think that it's going to be well received potentially. So Saudi Arabia, maybe. As far as Clash at the Castle, right? That's the next one that's coming up. I think after that, you're going to see it happen in between Saudi Arabia and Clash at the Castle, because if it goes beyond that, then it's going to take way too long.
Okay. All right. Lastly,
as far as the final point here, we got Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul. Is this a waste of time?
Yeah. Waste of time.
Yeah, you got to do your LA Knight. Got to do
you
your LA Knight.
You should have had LA Knight versus Logan Paul at this PLE. That's what you should have done. But whatever. It is what it is. All right. Speaking of the PLE, let us finish the show strong. We're gonna do our King and Queen of the Ring PLE predictions. Let's start with the Queen of the Ring tournament final match. Lyra Valkyria, already confirmed from Raw, versus either Bianca Belair or Nia Jax. Who does Lyra face and who wins that match?
Valkyria to the moon.
It doesn't matter who she faces?
I'm sticking with it. Valkyria to the moon.
Even if it's your girl Nia Jax?
Even if it's my girl Nia Jax.
All right.
Valkyria to the moon.
All right. I got Lyra Valkyria versus Bianca Belair, and I think the first round pick takes it. Bianca Belair beats Lyra Valkyria in a banger of a match.
I've got Lyra versus Nia Jax. That's what my one-on-one bout will be.
All right. We got the King of the Ring tournament final match for the men. We got Gunther versus Randy Orton or Tama Tonga. Who does Gunther face and who wins that match?
It's going to be Gunther versus Randy Orton, and then we're going to have King Gunther be crowned.
So you're going to have both the King and Queen of the Ring on Raw?
Oh, they're both on there, huh?
You see where your booking takes the, you know what I mean?
I was booking like a fan, so I was not booking like an actual booker.
It's all right. It's all right. All right. I also have Gunther versus Randy Orton, and I have King Gunther. God, for the love of God, please don't let these winners take those stupid gimmicks. Please. We have the Women's World Championship. Becky Lynch defends against Liv Morgan. Who wins?
Well, that's going to be an interesting one, but it's going to be Becky Lynch.
I think Liv Morgan wins.
You think so in Saudi?
I think she wins in Saudi. I think they gave it to Becky to give us a story leading up to the Ultimate Universe in Saudi. Becky was scheduled to take a break with Seth. I think this is where she does it. I think it's time for Liv. And then Rhea comes back at SummerSlam. WWE Intercontinental Championship triple threat match. Sami Zayn defends against Chad Gable and Bronson Reed. Who wins?
Oh, man. Well, Bronson Reed, we're going to get rid of him. We know he's not going to win. And so I'm going to be selfish. We're going to go with the man himself, Chad. Say it ain't so, Gable.
It ain't so. Sami Zayn retains.
Sanke for the retention.
And the undisputed WWE Universal Championship pointless match. Cody Rhodes defends against Logan Paul. Who wins?
The Prime bottle is going to come out with the brass knuckles, and unfortunately, Cody Rhodes going to catch that, and he's going to then pin Logan Paul for the 1, the 2, and the 3.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
You think that's how it ends? I mean, that's just me throwing it out there because it's already been alluded to that every single match, the brass knuckles are
The brass
somehow
knuckles will
introduced.
be there. I don't think Cody uses them. Cody's like Mr. Boy Scout. I think he notices it, throws them away, wins with the usual win of the triple freaking crossroads, and call it a day. I think it's going to be a good match. I think it'll be a really fun match, but we just
Does
know.
Logan Paul actually wrestle?
Yeah.
Do we get that showcase now?
Yeah. Because Cody's someone that could help him work through that match. One thing I can tell you right now, Logan Paul's booking thus far has been great because he's getting paired with people that can carry him through a match. And Cody's another one of those guys that can carry him through a match. So I think we'll get a really solid match, even though we already know what's going to happen.
I mean, Logan Paul's been a great performer this entire time.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, I think the PLE will be solid throughout. I think all the matches are going to be great. Every single match on this card, like I said, this is just the confirmed card. I'm sure there'll be something added within the next couple days, but this is everything that's just confirmed, the 5 matches. But everything on this card has meaning. You got the 2, final matches for the King and Queen of the Ring, women's championship, Intercontinental Championship, and the undisputed Universal Championship. So, all right. With that being said, Gonzo, do you have any final thoughts before we close out tonight?
I'm surprised that they don't have what's the other championship called for the men? World title, Damian Priest title. What's that shit called?
World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, that one. It kind of shocks me that that's not on there, and neither is the other women's title either. So no love for Bayley.
Well, so we'll see. Any final thoughts on tonight?
Final thoughts? No, I think we covered pretty much everything. As far as we got our laughs in, we got our WTFs in there, and so there's no coming back from me on my hot takes. They are what they are. Definitely Unfortunately, not. The cyber web now has them for everyone to listen to at some point.
There you go. Clips coming near you. Everyone go on them. All right. Once again, guys, we appreciate you joining. We appreciate the engagement. Remember to join us every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you do miss the show, you can go ahead and rewatch it on our respective YouTubes. Or if you just want to listen, if you're a straight podcast guy, you could find us on Spotify. Gonzo, why don't you tell everybody where they could find you?
So the name David MALCPC, you're going to have the underscores in between David and the MA. And so you're going to be able to find me on Instagram, TikTok, and then also YouTube with that name. The only one that's going to be a little bit different is, I said that in reverse order. So it's going to be Raising Personalities. So Raising _ Personalities is what you're going to have on the TikTok, the Instagram, and then the YouTube channels. And then the David MALCPC is actually going to be on X. And so I did it with X just because I think the Raising Personalities was taken. So unfortunately, I got the screw job. So I couldn't have, the trifecta across all 4 platforms. But yeah, as far as wrestling goes, that's what those accounts are going to be for. And other content potentially is just going to be more about my career as being a therapist, providing behavioral health and addiction treatment for people. And so you're going to have some hot tags and some hot takes just of more trends and stuff that I've been seeing out there in the field. And so if that's something of interest for you, by all means, you could shoot me some questions. If you do, I'm, again, a licensed therapist here in the state of Illinois. I've been doing this now for going on 10 years. And so I come with a lot of different history, working with people in jail settings, residential settings, inpatient settings, hospital settings, outpatient. So by all means, if you have questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me and I'll do my best to help and assist with what I can.
For sure. That's amazing. Be sure he does help, but he does give shitty takes, just so you guys know. Just fully.
I like to stir the pot.
Once again, guys, you guys know where you can find me, pro_wrestling_kingpin on all social media. I'm very active on my Twitter when it comes to PLEs. So be sure to, look out for those tweets. We can engage and talk about the PLE this Saturday. To be determined, we might do a special show on Saturday for the PLE. We'll let you guys know depending on Gonzo and I's schedule. If not, then we will definitely discuss it next Wednesday. Once again, every Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week. And remember, Chris Jericho is the greatest of all time.
That's what you spent all this time looking up. Trash.
We're out.
He survived the